All right, everybody, let's get started. Hope everyone's doing well out there. Ken is going to be joining us in just a moment. Having a little technical difficulty, but we're happy that you're all here joining us on the Nosebleeds. It's our 13th episode. It's been a bit of a break since we last recorded. It's our first time going on video. Let me try to get this glare out of my glasses. But this is how we can get to you. So we're happy to be on LMC-TV. Happy to be on YouTube Live as well. It's LMC-TV Productions. If you want to watch on YouTube, and I think Ken's coming in right now. Hey, buddy. All right, we're working on getting Ken in here. Is that Ken? Hey, can you hear me?
And can you hear me?
I can hear you. We are live. You didn't miss much. We were about maybe 30 seconds late, so that's okay.
That's not bad.
If you are watching on YouTube, just be aware that we're using Zoom. There's a 20-second delay.
Which is good.
Well, there's no dump button, so there's.
Oh, right. Sorry.
But if you are listening on YouTube and you want to ask us a question, it's going to take us a little time to answer your question. Just be patient. But the chat room
outside
is
of the time
open.
you need because we're dumb.
Yes,
which is
the chat room is open.
Woo.
And I will be monitoring that as we move along. Ken, how are you doing?
Doing good, man. What is this, day 9?
It depends on when you mark day 1. I really don't know.
I suppose. Yeah, I mean, we're hanging in. I've got the quarantine beard going.
Yeah, I trimmed up, for the public. I don't want them to see what was going on here.
See, I'm leaning in. I'm going the whole Tom Hanks, Castaway, doing the whole thing.
All right. That's the fine approach too. So you're on a phone right now and you're trying to get your computer up and running.
It's coming in quick, slowly but surely. We did a test run on Friday, and went great. What's the saying? You make plans and God laughs, or something like that. So here we are, with the computer needing to restart. Like, not even a question. It wasn't like, hey, do you want to restart? It was, hey, I'm restarting now. Good luck. And it just left. Which I'm used to. So it's fine, but it's coming up slowly but surely, and we're going to make the transition once it's good to go. I mean, we're loading up quick. So there's about to be 2 Kens, and then it'll go back down to 1 Ken.
That's our Ken limit for today, I think.
Yeah, 1 Ken is more than enough.
All right. So, while we're waiting for that to happen, I do want to make an announcement that LMC-TV, which you're seeing in the background,
that's well
will
done.
Soon be LMC Media.
Whoa, look at that hat.
Yeah, it's very blue. I don't know if I choose. It's not our brand color. It's just close to it.
So is it not, are you not going full blue?
It's a specific blue is all it is. And the maker of the hat has like 1 blue. So it's fine.
Fair enough.
But little announcement there for anyone listening in.
When is the change going in? When does the
it's on a bit of a delay. We're kind of slowly making the change. Jacqueline Shearer is listening, so hi.
She's also listening from the living room.
Aha! Oh, that's Jackie. Hi, Jackie. If anyone else has a question, feel free to hit us up along the way.
Slow playing the launch of LMC Media, or is it?
Yeah, well, we were going to do actually, it was supposed to be yesterday was our day to do the whole big launch. That was before the whole COVID thing happened. So we have some swag has come in, and that's all we can do for now. Oh, there's so much Ken. I can't even handle it.
So many Kens. All right. We are leaving the phone Ken behind.
Now that's what I'm talking about.
Now here we go, right?
You sound a lot better too.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I think so. There's a little more room tone. It's all right. We're going to roll with it.
I'll turn you up so I can listen in real deep and close, All right,
sure.
There we go. All right, so here we go. We're ready to go now, man.
let's get into it. As I said before we got on, this is episode 13, lucky number 13, of course, as we're all on quarantine. Not actual quarantine, but stay inside as much as you can.
Yes. Now, you're in a war zone.
Well, I mean, a little. I wouldn't go that far. We're trying not to induce panic.
Fair enough.
Ken, do you want headphones? That's what Jackie wants to know.
I don't. I'm good. Thanks, honey. I do appreciate her checking in. But
it's very nice of her.
We're good. So you guys are as close to normal as can be with the ongoing situation.
LMC-TV is still up and running. We're just working from home, going into the office only when needed.
Right.
But we're here. We're ready to serve the community. I hope everyone out there is safe and is stocked and all that. Especially, I think I have a newfound appreciation for personal hygiene paper products recently.
Paper and such. Well, yes, naturally. So your daughter had her second birthday, and this is before we head into sports talk because I do have something. This is going to lead me in there. I'm excited. But
I'm excited
second birthday, you didn't do the party. What'd you do? What was the interim plan?
It was really interesting. It was an evolution. So we were going to have like a medium-sized party, like 30, 35 people. And then right around the first week of March, we were actually where we were going to have it told us we're not doing it. So then we decided, all right, we'll just have the immediate family. They'll fit in my mom's house. That would probably be 15 or so people. And we ended up trying to do the math. Parents, we had about 9 or 10 people total, all immediate family, small muted celebration. So she had a great time. She's only 2, so I can't complain. Kenny, you're still there. I think you've frozen on us. This is not good. But okay, we'll get Ken back. So I guess we've lost Ken temporarily, but I hope everyone out there is doing well. Oh, we're getting Ken back, maybe in 2 places. Yeah, we're getting him back in 2 places.
Oh, dear.
Oh, there's so much Ken on my screen.
How many are there?
He's multiplying. I don't know. There we go. This is good.
All right.
Everything okay there from a technical standpoint? Anything we should be aware of?
No, nothing at all is good, Rob. I mean, we've got COVID in the system. I think it's coming from all over. It's trying to get at us from the internet. But oh well. What are you gonna do? We're gonna rock and roll. We're going. We got everybody working from home these days, so there's gonna be some internet snafus. Okay.
Absolutely. So, hey, I've been impressed so far that everyone's working from home and my internet has not had a single hiccup.
Yeah, well, I cannot say the same, clearly. So that's where I'm at. I wanted to transition from your daughter's birthday party into, I saw you had posted on Twitter on the LMC Sports handle of the favorite sports moments from
Yes, I did.
LMC-TV, which is now LMC Media or soon to be LMC Media. And you tweeted out the baseball walk-off back in 2015. And I was on the call for that game. I remember that vividly. And so
how about them apples, huh?
How about them apples? That's where that started. And that's where it ended at the same time. It was a good effort, but nobody wanted them apples, apparently. So them apples were a walk-off in whatever inning it was, felt like the 97th inning. And
13th, I'll never forget.
13. And I was on the call with Stephen Astis, our good friend Stephen Astis, who had the play-by-play call. But I believe the clip you posted had me saying that, I forget who it was that scored the run, but that it could really move, I believe is what I said.
Emerson Genovese. Yeah, you know what? I think I actually turned to you guys right before the pitch and said, hey, Genovese is fast. A single wins the game.
And you Eric Hornick over there, Rob Moretti, Eric Hornick, famous MSG producer, can help out with the stats on his fancy whiteboard. Rob says he can run. I chime in with the haven't you kids ever heard of closing the goddamn door, right? And then I tell you, Genovese can swim, base hit in the right field. He comes around to score. Everybody goes wild. Now, I remember that game because, and I forget his name off the top of my head, American pitcher,
Kumar
Nambiar, goes 150 pitches, like 16 innings out of the pen
in
before
relief.
going off to college.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what was so wild. There were so many things playing into it at once. He comes in out of the bullpen. This was a section semifinal. They were trying to save him for the championship game, which he did end up throwing the last like inning plus of. So he comes in, he throws 7 innings, gives up the 1 run in the top of the 13th before Mamaroneck scores 2 in the bottom. It was scoreless through 12. It was nuts.
That is crazy.
They walk it off, and not 5 minutes later, while we're trying to do our interviews on the field after the game, and we were monitoring this in the sky, it was pouring.
It was scary. It was like super dark.
It was like, for safety's sake, this game has to end.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think we were talking about what would happen if the game didn't end.
Yeah. They'd have to come back tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. No, that was crazy. Now, I didn't post it because I couldn't find the clip. It's somewhere on the LMC YouTube page somewhere. My favorite from back in the day was and I forget what it was, section quarterfinal, semifinal, whatever the heck. And I also forget who they played because I'm stupid and I'm not helping at all. This is a very bad story because I know.
You might know what your pick is, but tell me.
You know it. So it's that hockey game. I forget who it was against. I forget the name of the goalie. Who was it?
Scarsdale. I forget the name of the goalie who was They're down 2-0 in the second, right?
Down 2-1, I believe.
Well, they were down 2-0. They made it 2-1 at the end of 2. Yeah.
So I remember they fell behind early, and Tommy Spiro, who I remember, ended up playing very well. He gave up 2 early ones, but then played well throughout the rest. And it was just one of those games where you felt like there was no shot they were going to be able to break through. And I forget who the goalie's name is. He deserved better than the outcome.
Sam Seltzer.
That's the one. And I remember Beanstalk scores to tie the game at 2 with like 4 or 5 minutes left. Place going wild. And then just like some random Kirk wrist shot from like
Will Kirk just
inside the blue line.
It was like 20 seconds after the drop after Beanstalk scored.
Yeah. And it was just like it was probably a really good shot, and like there's probably some screenage and the guy just missed it. But like it was wild. Like it did not deserve to go in, but it just turned from like just put the game a total 180 on its head, and then they go on to win instead. Right? Didn't they win the state year?
They won the whole state that year. Yeah, that would kind of catapulted them. They were already a good team, a great team, and that kind of just gave them that extra edge. They were unstoppable.
That was wild. And that was back in the day. I forget. Now I'm down old memory lane, but I have no memories, so it's really
2016.
difficult.
It was 2016.
2016. I forget Shap, right? Chaparelli. And the guy admittedly is not a hockey coach, right? Like he's there because everybody knows him. They know he's a good guy. He can really get the kids to listen. But the assistant coach, whose name I forget, is
Art Bruno.
He's the hockey guy. And Shap is there because everybody knows Shap, and he coaches 9 other teams, and like he's the dude, right? And like I just remember like interviewing him after the game, being like, "What happened?" And he's like, "I don't know. They won." And he was right, because there's no right answer to that. I don't know what happened. They made it happen. I don't know. Fascinating.
Oh man, it was. We've had a lot of fun over the years, and once everything gets back to normal, we're gonna get that back up and running again. We're gonna have a van, so that's gonna be cool.
That's exciting.
It's literally like we would have had it by now if COVID didn't happen.
Well, it's happening. So let's stick with the high school, college sport folks right now, because that's where we're at. And you just brought up COVID. And I don't know if anybody knows this, but we're in the middle of a global pandemic.
If you don't know this and you found your way to this program,
I don't know either. So we're in the middle of this craziness. High school kids, college kids, seniors, juniors, whatever. There's some questions on what happens next. And you say when everything gets back to normal, we'll get back to broadcasting games, yada, yada, yada. And what does that look like? I mean, you're on the ground with the high schools and, in that district and talking to those people. So what does that look like moving forward? Is it back to normal? Seniors are done, right? I mean, juniors are now the captains, right? What's next?
It really, It really depends on how things. It's still very fluid. They just today put out a release officially moving the state championships from postponed to canceled. So it's kind of a bummer, but at this point it was inevitable. And then, yeah, Ken wants the YouTube link if that's fair.
Oh man, I was trying to do that covertly
on the sly. We'll just send that to Ken.
You got dad brain. You can't do more than one thing at a time, huh?
No, I got to talk my way through it. Yeah, the schools, they're closed for now. They can't have practices. So right. It's going to be when, I think by district or by county, whatever's closing this particular school, they'll get up and running when they decide it's time to get up and running.
Right.
And then at the state level, they're going to have to decide if state championships are something they can appropriately time out and do. Otherwise, they can look at something like just a section championship and doing postseason that way. If there's time, really no one knows at this point how much of the season there's going to be, if there is one at all.
Right. So that's where my thoughts are with those folks. Like, do they come back and they do some sort of summer activity that could be a tournament or something along those lines? Because that sounds great, but I'm not sure in high school bylaws or whatever it is that's even possible.
Yeah, I'm not sure. And the spring sports, for the most part, are played outdoors. So it's a matter of heat indexes, could be postponing things as well. So it's going to be difficult. I would assume the first thing they would do is figure out kind of a drop dead date of what's the latest we can do a championship.
Right. And
then work your way back. And I think a lot of the pro sports leagues are going to have to do this too. What's the latest we can end? When can we start, and what can we fit in that length of time?
Yeah. Well, and so, I mean, Rob, you're like really, you're on my transitional mind today. You got me, you know where we're going. So, I mean, anything else high school wise? Cause as involved as I am with the college and the high school world, I don't know as much as you. So you tell me, is there anything else high school wise that these guys are looking at in terms of getting these kids another chance to play? So, I mean, I couldn't imagine what it'd be like being a senior right now. Now, let me remind everybody that I did not play anything in high school because I looked like I do now, but I was like a foot shorter. So it was just extended outward. Okay. So they didn't let me play sports, and that was the right decision. But I couldn't.
I thought you struck out against Marcus Stroman.
That was tryouts, man. And so, like, I didn't have the chance to play, but
okay.
I couldn't imagine what it'd be like being a senior. And like, I did ROTC, right? So I couldn't imagine being a senior, not having our senior banquet, right? Like that was everybody worked towards that. So I couldn't imagine what it'd be like being a Nambiar, right? A guy who's going off to do great things in his future, who doesn't get the chance to play in those section finals or playoffs or anything like that. So they've got to try something, but like you said, there's other factors because those kids go to college in August a lot of times. I mean, if they're playing sports, they're there in July.
Yeah. That's the question. I think if there's any time at all, they're going to try to do something.
Yeah.
They have to, because unlike, so in the NCAA, I think they've already canceled the spring season, the NCAA, but they can grant an extra year of eligibility.
Right.
So at least they can kind of smooth that over a little bit. I know that doesn't work for everyone.
Yeah.
You can't really do that in high school. Once it's gone, it's gone. So I do think if there's any time at all, if it's at all possible, yeah, they're going to try to get some sort of condensed schedule in, or maybe you just start the playoffs and make it everyone gets in situation. I don't know. It depends how much time there is.
Yeah. You're right. It all depends on how much time there is. And then to your NCAA point of giving folks more eligibility, I mean, man, that's tough. Because
it is. And to really accentuate that point, I read a Lohud story the other day. They talked to former Mamaroneck Tiger who was on that team, Peter Matt, who goes to UPenn. He's a senior now. His baseball season's over. He gets another year of eligibility, but he can't play it at UPenn. They don't have a graduate program.
Oh, geez.
So,
and not even that. I mean, there's so many kids who have stuff to do now, right?
Like are you going to cancel your entire? add a whole year of going to school just to play baseball or whatever sport it is. That's a big decision to have to make.
It is, and it's an unfortunate one, but I mean, it's also, you know, a privileged one. I mean, you find yourself in a spot. Okay, do I get to go back to school and play a sport I love again for another year, or do I go off and, you know, and start my job? Right, I've been interning for 6 months. Who I've been with, and now I can start my full-time job once school's over. So, I mean, you have the chance to make that choice. It's a privileged choice, of course. Not everybody has that decision. You got to think about kids. You know, in my head, when I say privileged decision, right, you got to think about the kids who that's their life, right? Like sports are their life, and so many kids, right, get recognized in a March Madness situation, or at a conference tournament, or in a, you know, a full, you know, tournament of 64 where they turn into Steph Curry, right? A guy who was going to go maybe undrafted or maybe, you know, 6th, 7th round, whatever, turns into superstar, right? Because of that tournament. And that's cash, right? That's cash for a lot of guys. A lot of guys who grow up with cash, you know, the Currys are maybe a different situation than a lot of the other folks, but you know what I mean? And those guys now don't have that opportunity and have to rely on, you know, their wider range of work, which may not encompass everything they can do because their tournament got canceled. So that's tough.
Yeah, it's rough all around. It's tough for everyone. Not much we can do.
Well, there's literally nothing I can do.
Yeah.
I will tell you, except stay home.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, that's the whole reason we're doing this, is if we're going to cancel sports or we're going to lose society as a whole for a while and put everything on pause, then let's do it right.
Yeah. Yep. I'm with you. So let's do the timeline of events, right? So how did we get to where we are sports wise? And then and like Rob said at the beginning, we're taking questions. Anything you got, text me, text Rob, tweet us, Facebook us, put it in the YouTube chat, do the whole nine.
Yeah, if you happen to have my cell phone number, yeah, feel free to text. Not publicizing that.
And also make sure to say happy birthday to his daughter while you're at it. But
sure.
So we got here.
And it's my half birthday too. Yay me.
It's your half birthday. That's fun. Happy
That's
for
not.
you. I'm very happy for you.
Yeah,
how old are you now? Like 55, 60?
Yeah, close enough.
All right. So Rudy Gobert licks all the microphones. Everybody gets COVID-19.
That was disgusting.
Well, number one, like that's gross, regardless of if there's stuff going on. Like
the end of this is before he still thinks it's a whole joke.
Right.
The end of a press conference, did he lick his hands first?
Yes.
He licks his hands, and there's all these recorders and microphones on the desk in front of him that belong to members of the media, and he just one after another like bongo drums all of them.
It's pretty gross. It's pretty gross. I don't know how.
Even if he didn't have coronavirus.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like that's gross all the time. It's not just gross now. It's been gross forever, and it was extra gross because of obviously everything going on. So Rudy Gobert, who weird dude, does some weird stuff. They cancel they suspend the NBA season. And I want to say a couple of things. Number one, I want to say that Rudy Gobert is a weird dude. That's number one. Number two, I want to say that the NBA and the NHL and potentially the MLB should have canceled or postponed their games before the Rudy Gobert situation. Based on everything that was going on, based on state governments recommending that they not hold gatherings of more than X amount of people. You can say you want to do it in an empty arena, but when you talk about a sporting event and teams and coaches and trainers and broadcast staff and media personalities, there's a lot of people, regardless of if you have a full suite of fans or not. So they should have been canceling their games to begin with. So they got lucky that Rudy Gobert decided to lick microphones because they were going to get more people sick to begin with by not canceling their games and events.
Yeah, and then, of course, 48 hours later, games get canceled. They play some, they don't play others, and apparently Rudy has it, and then...
So here we go. The NBA suspends their season the night of the Rudy Gobert situation because they're a quick, competent league.
Seemingly.
He somehow then decides to suspend the start of their season, and we'll see what happens with the rest of whatever they're doing. And they beat the NHL to that decision, which is fascinating and strange. And I'm not quite sure how that happened. And then
because the prevailing thought there is the NHL and the NBA share so many facilities.
Right. And so if you're going to be like, I don't know, like I can't fathom the fact that the NBA was like, oh yeah, we should stop letting this happen. And then the NHL was like, nah, we'll see. We'll give it a shot. And like, I'll give them like a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. I guess they had to like do stuff, I guess, talk to whoever they needed to talk to.
Look, they're hockey players. They're tough.
They're stupid is what they are. Right?
Well, at times.
Tough is a nice, what's the synonym? Synonym for stupid when it comes to hockey.
Can be.
It is. I'm just gonna go ahead and just say, yep, that's what that is.
So, like speaking of that, if the NHL when they come back decides, correct me if I'm wrong, if they decide to come back and stop and end the regular season and go straight to the playoffs, I think your Islanders who are behind you might be out by a point.
No, they'll be in. So they would go by. So common thought right now is that they go by points percentage because everybody's played a significantly different amount of games. So based on points percentage, the Islanders would somehow make themselves into the playoffs, regardless of the fact that they haven't won in 3 months. So that'd be
well.
Good.
And again, I mean, this kind of goes for the NBA and the NHL as well because they're kind of in the same. They're in the same situation in terms of if and when they can restart. Do they even play every round of the playoffs? Do they play less games per round? Do they cut rounds? If you cut rounds, you're cutting teams out.
Well, so this is where the fun can start, right? And I think the NHL is more, is more open to creative solutions for this situation, being as they are a direct gate revenue league, right? I mean, the NBA from global care and sponsorships and money and all the rest of it is better off than the NHL by like a long stretch. I think the NHL was a $5 billion league, and their playoffs account for $1 billion of those dollars, right? So that's 20% of their revenue could be removed based on just, slicing off of playoffs. So I would feel that they are more inclined to find a creative solution, whether that be a 2014 playoff, including the Canadians and the Rangers and the Blackhawks, which are 3 giant markets that they could probably use cash from during this time. But at the same time, their CBA is not great for the players. And if they lose that amount of money, the players have to pay will have to pay potentially close to maybe 30, 35% in escrow, which relates to hockey-related revenue, which essentially means they lose 30, 35% off the top of their check. Then they get their taxes taken out. Then they get all the rest of the stuff taken out.
It's rough.
I mean, sure. Most
of them are well paid anyway, but
right. But at the same time, that's a lot. That's a lot of dollars.
A lot of money. It's a lot of money.
That's a lot of dollars. So I imagine the NHL will be more open to creative solutions, whereas the NBA may do something, I would think, maybe a little bit more succinct. Maybe say, because at the same time, the NHL and the NBA have such different levels of parity within their standings. I mean, the Lakers and the Bucks are going to play for the championship, right? I mean, there may be an opportunity where 2 teams maybe force them to play 7 games in the playoffs, but the idea that somebody's just going to come in and storm the Bucks and the Lakers out is silly. right? So those two teams are more than likely going to play in the finals. In the NHL, you could grab two names out of a hat and potentially be right.
Yeah. So, I mean, so what you're saying is in basketball, a shorter series might work better because of the level of parity, where you're probably going to go to a game 5, game 6, game 7 in a series regardless. So you might as well just start it at game 3.
Right.
Maybe.
Right. So, and I wouldn't even say you need the full 16-team suite in the NBA. I think there's a league that can say, hey, we're going to take 8 teams, 4H or whatever, and get away with it. Do 3 best-of-7 series, right? Where in the NHL, you're looking at potentially expanding from 16 to, like I said, maybe 24 works. Maybe they just do some crazy tournament where, where you can get teams like the Rangers, Canadians, and Blackhawks in so you can get their cash, right? I mean, it is what it is, but I can't imagine the NHL easily is going to let their season wash away. Now, that said, I don't think anything's going to come back. Now, I just saw a comment on our YouTube chat, sports not coming back in 2020. I think that's totally fair.
Possible.
I think it's totally fair. Now, I think the MLB plays their season without fans. The whole season with no fans, potentially playoffs if everything's maybe back to normal. I don't think anything happens until August, sporting-wise. If you come back from this, you have to be sure nothing else. If you come back and somebody gets sick and you have to cancel again, that's a death blow to whoever you are. That's lawsuits, that's stupidity, that's as bad press as you can possibly get. So to go with our YouTube commenter, I agree to an extent to where, especially with, whatever today's news was, Trump, our fearless leader saying that the solution can't be worse than the problem. Sure, but the solution isn't killing folks, right? The problem is literally killing people. So I can't imagine a sports league forcing itself back before everything is taken care of. And that means I think there will be no Stanley Cup handed out, and I think there will be no NBA championship handed out this year. I think the NFL will try to start on time. I don't think it will. I think it will start late, potentially in January, and checking back a couple of months for the NFL. Those are my thoughts. I can't imagine there's a Stanley Cup. I can't imagine there's an NBA championship. I can't imagine there's a World Series, but I have to think they're going to do something more creative than other leagues because they have the infrastructure to do so without it. I don't know if it works. Maybe they just fly everybody out to an island and play, 15 baseball games a team and call it a season. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
You're on the right track. And it really all comes down to when is it safe to start? Just like we were talking about with high school and potentially the NCAA really for the fall. When is it safe to start? How much time do we have? What can we fit in that time? Is it worth it to do that? So you got to answer those questions. And at this point, I don't think we know enough. The NHL and the NBA are in trouble. There's a really solid chance that, if they're lucky, if they can come back June 1st, they can probably head straight into the playoffs and fit them all in. Baseball, again, it depends on when they can start. If they can start June 1st, there's a time to have a legitimate amount of the season. If not, then if they start later, it depends on how many games they're willing to go down to without canceling.
Yeah, and I think the MLB's got a little bit of an advantage there, considering they play 162 to begin with like 8 off days per team for the entire season or something silly like that. So you can parse that down. I wonder if there's a way to just put it back and get it set to start next year on time. I don't think that is possible with the NBA and the NHL. I think those two leagues are in the most trouble, considering their end of the season and the beginning of the season may overlap in terms of bad times to do things in public. So no cup, no championship, no opening day, right? I think that's totally fair from both of those leagues' perspectives. Now, we saw in the NHL a couple of years back, maybe 2013, 14, whatever the lockout shortened season was, they played 48 games starting mid-January. So I think for the NHL, they could potentially say, we're done until January, and we're going to start next season a shortened year, 48 games, 42 games, whatever you want to call it, from January through the normal end of the season. And then hopefully 2021 is a full slate beginning in October. It also depends on, like I said, it depends on what government suggestions are, man. I mean, those are changing by the day, regardless of, it should be a gathering of 100 people. It should be a gathering of 25 people, a gathering of 10 people, right? Whatever it is, that's changing every day. And we're at this crux now where we're talking at the highest levels of government, where we're talking, potentially 15 days, just get right. I mean, that's so, right. And maybe that may be too optimistic, and that may be kind of dumb, for lack of a better word, but it's possible that in 15 days, they're telling people to go back to work and do whatever it is you want it to be doing. Is that where we end up with sports, right? I mean, is somebody like Gary Bettman, right, whose job, whose tenure has been to operate his owners, right, to make them as much money as he possibly can in whatever way that means. Is he, that man, going to turn around to the owners? Sunday yesterday that he'll pay his arena workers if the games get canceled. Is he going to turn around and say to those people, we're still not going to have fans at our games? I can't imagine he would. I like, and maybe that's the cynical side of me coming out, but I can't imagine he's going to say to those owners who he reports to that the government, right, the highest levels of government, had said, you can get back to normal, you can do this, you can do that. And he's going to turn around and say, I don't think we should. I don't think he will. I think that will be potentially the downfall of a lot of companies moving forward. Will be forcing it back to normal. And that will ruin lives, obviously, but it'll also ruin businesses, I think, including sports business.
Yeah, and we do have another question on YouTube that I want to address, talking about esports and NBA players organizing 2K leagues for charity. Is this the entry point that franchises like FIFA, NBA 2K, Madden, and NHL need to capitalize on? Look, I'm not an expert on esports, but yeah, this is a chance. I mean, people are, how many X days without sports memes are out there on the internet? People want their sports. Esports are something that can take bets on, that gets people engaged in that way as well.
Gosh, man, my Bovada account is getting all, just so many cobwebs in there. But luckily I haven't spent, X amount of dollars on like weird 40 team parlays on a Wednesday night for like $18 that could win me 1.8 million. So it's helping save me some cash, but man, do I wish I could. And I've seen so many posts on like Facebook, right? I'm part of different groups here and there that are, putting out horse racing stats and different things like that. What Turkish soccer is still going. So I could put a few bucks there, but I suppose I could save it up.
Yeah, and esports as a whole, I know we're growing. There's growing interest there as well. So, yeah, I mean, even outside of esports leagues, just the video game franchises themselves, like people aren't spending time watching games now.
Right.
That can be a way to still immerse yourself in a sport without having to watch the game because you can't.
I had a solution. What if every NBA team, every NHL team, right now, because those are the only two leagues that are fully affected. What if NHL teams and NBA teams held tournaments, tournaments, in their own cities to determine their player and then their player played in a shortened tournament round robin style event hosted by the National Hockey League or the NBA, where they handed out the virtual Stanley Cup or the virtual NBA championship to that player, to that team, to that city. Wouldn't that be fun?
It would be. I know, I don't remember. I'd have to look up. 2 NHL players did play each other in NHL.
Yeah.
2K. It's NHL 2K, right?
No. There is no 2K in the NHL. It's just NHL 20.
NHL 20. I don't play it. I'm not that familiar.
Okay.
In full transparency,
I haven't purchased the show yet, even though I'm a total loser and will buy it eventually. I don't know.
And I'm still playing 19. I got it for free in October. It was the free game of the month.
It for free in October.
It was for free.
I haven't gotten nothing for free, Rob.
But 2 NHL players, to back to the point, who were going to play each other that night if the NHL was still going on, played each other in NHL 20, and it was like a sanctioned esport, like they were taking bets.
Yeah, that's cool. And that's where they should get.
So
I mean,
it can grow from there.
Yeah, and that's where it should grow. That's how it should grow. And I mean, especially NHL. I know I'm harping a lot on the NHL. I just am more familiar with the league than I am with the NBA. Is they've been waiting so long for players to culminate their personality and be more media friendly and be more active on social and all the rest. And they never really get the opportunity to do so, because every question from an NHL media personality is, take me through that play, or, what would they say in the room? And everybody's answer is, you just put your head down and you go hard to the net and, you see what happens. I just listen to the coach, play our system and do our thing. And that's it. That's the answer you get from everybody. And then, on social media, it's just promotions and ads and yada, yada, and they're just doing their thing. And then, the one time a player wants to show a little bit of personality, he gets called selfish. He doesn't, he's not a team player. Nobody wants him on the team. He's a waste of time, yada, yada, yada. So this is the perfect opportunity for folks like that who have a little bit of personality, have a little bit of, what's a chutzpah, right? That's the word.
That's a great word. I love that word.
Thank you. And can get out there, can play some esports, interact with fans. I mean, geez, if you don't want to allow betting, right, if that's the thing that everybody's nervous about or something like that, just have it be a donation box and send the whichever team wins or whichever player wins, let them donate it to a small business in his community, right? So this is easy stuff. I don't understand why. Like, this is what I don't get with sports teams and with players and stuff like that, is you write the rules. Right, you own the rules. These aren't laws. These aren't like, you don't need government approval. You make the rules. The book, you have it. So all you have to do, Rob, is write it down, and then it's real, and it's super simple. Super simple. So make it a thing. Make it a donation. Make it a community event. Just do it. I don't understand why it takes so long for that. Like, these are simple solutions that should have been talked about on day one, right? You had to wait 24 hours to suspend the season for what? You haven't given me anything you call Barry Trotz and you say, I need you to play John Tortorella in NHL 20. I need you to do it. Too bad. Yeah. It's not that hard. It's not hard.
You think Barry Trotz or John Tortorella knows how to play NHL 20?
No, and I think that's what would make it great.
They'd just be flipping out like, oh, how do you shoot the puck?
See, wouldn't that be awesome?
It would be fun to watch. It would.
Come on, this is simple. This is simple. You should have a situation where the starting five for the Lakers play the starting five for the Clippers.
It would be cool.
Right? And this isn't difficult. Yeah. Like, we're on Zoom. We can Zoom. LMC Media can Zoom with the guy in Charlotte who's kind of a loser. They can Zoom.
Yeah.
It isn't hard.
And
I
I
don't know why
think
they make it so hard.
as time goes on, they're going to have to get more creative with this, especially as the delay gets more and more, just because you want to keep people interested in your brand.
Yeah. Gotta give them something. And you can't just replay games for me. I understand it's super sweet.
It's cool for a couple weeks.
Oh, that channels are replaying games. I get it. It's the same thing. I feel the same way. You know how I feel about prequels. I know how it ends. I don't want to watch it again. Sports, it's really difficult for me to do sports replays. Like, you can ask anybody I've ever met. I love to watch the same movies over and over again. I don't know why, but sports replays are difficult for me because, like, I know, like, there's nothing to get excited about. You know?
Makes sense. So
like,
on that same topic, did you happen to catch the Oak Show yesterday?
I didn't. I don't have cable. I'm a cord cutter. Snip, snip.
Oh, boo!
Oh, sorry, buddy. But I didn't. I saw some things on the old YouTube. The Cherry Pit Man was wild.
I caught a little bit of that.
Did you?
I caught a little bit of that. I think I watched some arm wrestling.
That's not social distancing.
Well, they're not live. These are pre-taped things.
Oh,
we just never saw them.
Oh, okay. I wonder why.
I wanted to check out US-Canada dodgeball, but at that point, I'd already relinquished the television to someone who was 30 years younger than me.
Wow. What did she put on?
I think we were watching Muppets.
Ah, she's
like
a Muppets girl. That's interesting.
Like, she loves the Muppets.
I don't know if I ever was a Muppets man.
You seem like you would be a Muppet man.
Am I a man? You know that song?
You know the song. You know the song.
Or am I a Muppet? What's that guy's name? Jason
Segel.
Jason Segel, yes. Is he a man or is he a Muppet? That's the real question, man. That's
a great question. That's actually, I've decided after watching that movie 3 times recently, the next time me and my wife are at a karaoke bar, we're duetting that.
You're going, am I a man or am I a Muppet? Wow.
Yeah.
That is like a very niche audience you're singing to.
Yes. But I think that plays it best, though.
Yeah, probably. You guys can go viral. Are you guys doing any like weird TikTok stuff in the house?
I don't tick. I don't talk. I don't tick.
No,
she's not really a video person either, so she doesn't really want to.
And now she's an essential. You can plug her work here. She's at where is she?
She is at the Ronald McDonald House in Valhalla, which mostly serves Westchester Medical Center. They do open up to other hospitals. Their main function is to provide housing to families of children who are in the hospital and they're from a distance away.
And that's tough, man. Especially now with everything going on. That's good for her. Happy to hear it. Is that I know Ronald McDonald House, that's a nonprofit, right?
Yes.
That's donations. Not plugging everybody here, but I think that's a fair donation box if somebody's got a few extra bucks.
So is LMC Media.
We're
also
you send
a
it to my
nonprofit.
Venmo, which is at Ken-Reichman, and I am also a nonprofit.
Get flooded now.
Okay, so I want to hear your thoughts, Rob. Specifically, your thoughts on the MLB, because not starting on opening day, obviously, potentially starting sometime over the summer, which we've talked about, maybe not something that's feasible. Are they a league that can play 80 games from? But here's the thing. Here's the real question. This is why I'm asking, because they don't want to play in the winter. That's no fun.
Yeah.
Right. If they can't play in the summer, what do they do?
So, like we've said for everything else, it really does depend on when they can start. I think that once they decide to ramp back up, they're going to need like a 2-week spring training before anything gets started.
Right.
Get the guys back and like seeing pitches, throwing competitive pitches, everything that comes with that. The idea was floated on social media somewhere that they could schedule the World Series and perhaps even earlier rounds of the playoffs if needed for a neutral site in a warm weather or dome stadium.
Interesting.
That could be a solution that works. Think about how crazy would Miami go to have a World Series? for example. I don't know. Maybe 10 people show up. I don't know, because that's how many people show up to the regular game. I don't know.
Derek Jeter might sell the stadium before it gets down there.
Derek Jeter is going to say, "I told you I'd bring a World Series to Miami."
Yeah, and there you go. He's complete. Job complete. I mean, that's interesting. I just wonder what, how many, I mean, geez, we've talked about this. Like, would you do the same playoff setup? Would you need, how many games do you need? And also, is this hilarious that the Yankees have to pay Garrett Cole this year?
It's kind of funny, kind of stinks. Look, I think baseball is the one sport where the 7-game format is the most necessary.
Yeah.
So I think no matter, like, you may shorten rounds, like the number of rounds you play, but I think you got to play 7 games. World Series, definitely. League championship, probably there too.
Yeah. It has always been weird to me that the DS, I mean, the DS really just depends on who's got the better ace, right? I mean,
it helps a lot. Yeah, that's 2 games
that's,
you expect to win out of 5. You need 3.
Yeah. So maybe you just cut out the DS, right? Maybe you can just go top 4 teams.
Yeah, you might have to. Yeah, I don't see how the wild card format sticks this year.
Yeah.
If they play, even if it's half a season.
I mean, granted, though, that is just one. That's just a one-off. So potentially that's fine. Potentially they're the only sport that doesn't really have to change their playoff format too much because it ramps up, right? Because it's 1, 3, 7, 7, right?
It does. I don't know. I don't know if there's a right way or a wrong way to do it, and it really is. How you evaluate their decision really is going to depend on how much time there is. If it's a situation where they're playing the World Series in the middle or end of December, then it's like, all right, you need to compress this down as much as you can.
Right, unless they do something like you said in a neutral city and they just call that what it is.
It could be. So those are my thoughts. Yeah, I was more excited than anyone to see Garrett Cole start striking guys out with the pinstripes on.
Sorry about that, by the way.
Is it your fault?
I mean, does Jacob deGrom win a 3rd straight Cy Young? Does it just carry over?
I don't think you're going to get double awards. He's going to have to go out and earn it if he's going to win it.
I don't know. I feel like they just might carry it over. Like, okay, you won it last year. You won it again this year. We're good.
So does Justin Verlander win another one?
I'm not sure. I think.
And who is more happy about this, by the way, than the Houston Astros?
I don't think anybody. And you know what's hilarious is just that. I mean, it is like really A+ that they have to face 0 anything. Now, I imagine as your shirt just it popped off the thing. They might have a ghost in there.
I'll even tell you what, we're short on supplies. It's tape.
Oh, fair enough. I mean,
I'm not going to go fix it now.
Get the new stuff up there, man. Get the new media shirts up there. And then soon hopefully we'll be able to broadcast games from the van from Charlotte. So once that's ready to go, you let me know because I'm ready to jump back in. But
I don't know if that's how it's going to work.
Oh,
but
come on, Rob.
Live stuff. We'll have live stuff. I do guarantee that.
All right, fine. I can work with that. Maybe. Do I have to shave?
No, you don't have to shave.
All right, good. Well, hopefully once quarantine ends, I don't think I can shave the full beard because I've had the beard now for 3 years, 4 years. When I started my first job. So yeah, 4 years. I've had the scruff going. So I don't know if I can go full non-quarantine beard, but I can go summer.
Okay. By the way, we have breaking news.
I can't see.
You can't see that. The and we do want to point out our chat friend Lewis here, who's pointing things out to us. 2020 Tokyo Olympics will be postponed.
It's the right decision.
I mean, at this point, you had Canada pulling out, a lot of countries just saying they're not going to send people. At that point, what's the point?
Have they given any, idea of how long it's going to be postponed? Because that could be.
It sounds like possibly. On the tweet I'm looking at from USA Today, it says likely to 2021.
Wow. I mean, that's a heavy move. It makes sense, but that's also, and I think that goes back to our YouTube commenter Lewis's point. I think that is indicative of the fact that 2020 is going to be very difficult for summer sports to happen.
Yeah, and that's the thing is you can't just postpone it to November because now you're not in the summer in Tokyo anymore. So
well, and that goes back to my baseball point, Rob. I mean, I don't know what they do. I think they're in maybe the weirdest situation. I think the NHL and the NBA have the opportunity to say, we're done. 2020 is over. We're sorry. You know, it is what it is. Shit happens. It is, right? That's just what happened. So from there, though, I think the MLB's in maybe the weirdest spot because I don't know what they do. I don't know if you can do anything more than maybe a round robin in a neutral city.
Yeah. If it goes that far, you got to find a way to compress it. But is that fair? Is that really baseball?
No, but what are you going to do? I mean, you got to do something, right? And then you say, does this take? And this is now we're in the weeds, but I think it's a fair point. Does this take a year off contracts?
Now, that's a great question because I think it should. I mean, you signed a contract. I don't think it would be fair to extend contracts a year because now you're committing payroll to things you weren't intending to commit it to however many years down the line.
Right. I mean, but it's a little bit, it's so much deeper than that too, because there's so many incentives and things like performance incentives and stuff like that. And do those just carry another year, right? Does that become the incentive for next year or does that incentive get pushed back?
Or depending on the incentive, you could try to prorate it.
Yeah, potentially.
So
I mean, that's assuming they play.
That's assuming they play. Otherwise, I don't know. That's something that the players union is going to have to work out with.
And we know the MLB has a tough task ahead of it in terms of signing a CBA to begin with.
Yeah, this is not going to make it easier.
No, it's not. It's actually going to make it much more challenging, which they didn't need, I think. But I mean, I'll double down on it. I'll say the MLB's got the toughest road ahead. NBA, NHL can say we're starting in 2021 with a shortened season. Right. Unfortunately, there's no champion for 2020. That's happened before. It'll happen again, we're sure. It stinks, but it is what it is. The MLB is going to have to postpone or cancel an entire year, potentially. Yeah. Now, again, like I said at the beginning, I think there's a chance that they go ahead and say we're going to play without fans for the majority of the season, but I'm not sure where they can do that. Can they do that in New York?
I don't know.
It's on lockdown, right? I mean, is Cuomo going to say they're essential? Right? Can they do that in Seattle? Can they do that in San Francisco? Or
no, they can't.
Right? So
they're not going to be considered essential. I mean, theaters are closed, both live, Broadway, and movie. It's considered a performance, and performances are shut down.
Right. So what happens? I mean, I think from a capability perspective, the only thing that I see plausible for the MLB in 2020 is to take your teams, take them to Miami or to a place where there's more than one stadium, like I'm sure there's a bunch around Miami. I mean, take us to your spring training facilities.
The spring training facilities are definitely an option. They're plentiful. They're in relatively close geographic location to each other.
Say, listen, here's the deal. We got 30 teams. We're going to pick names out of a hat. We're going to do a round robin. We're going to play it through like you did in your backyard with a wiffle ball tournament, right? Everybody plays everybody once, and then you seed, and then you go from there. Right? And that's a pretty fair amount of games. That could be close to 40 games per team.
Could be. Yeah, if everyone plays everyone once, like it gets you through the league one time. The thing with baseball is, it's so dependent on your starting pitcher that day.
I mean, you're gonna have to deal with the intricacies of the game as it is.
I mean, who do you throw Garrett Cole against?
I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you. Luckily, you don't have to worry about who you're throwing Severino against. But I mean, it's
yeah. There's a lot of pitchers opting for Tommy John surgery now because
I would.
You're not missing that much. Chris Sale's having Tommy John surgery.
He made the right call. I think he knows more than what's going on. And see, I think that's what's annoying about this whole situation is they know more than they're telling us, obviously. And we're starting to see those little trickles, right? Those little tidbits of stuff. Chris Sale's getting Tommy John. Chris Sale's a weird dude. He's not missing time for no reason.
Right.
Right. And they wouldn't tell him to get Tommy John in March, right? He would have pitched the majority of the season hurt. And then come the time when you need the full, you need a year and a couple months to get back. Right. So he either would have gotten it a few months ago and just missed the whole season, or he would have pitched a few months, gotten a mild repair or whatever, and then gone off to do whatever he needed to do. It's a calculated decision, but I mean, we know something's going on. Everybody's aware we're in a pandemic. You don't have to hide it. So just tell us what's going on.
Yeah. So what else we got going? You know what we need to talk about? We need to talk about NFL free agency because that's one thing, the only thing that's been happening.
I have so many thoughts all the time, and it's my therapist says I need help, but she can't help.
I thought that was her job.
Do your job. So, I mean, IOC pushes back, right? This is after Canada takes the world lead to say we're not going. UK followed today, I believe. Australia did. So they really had no choice, right? Unless they were going to let Trinidad and Tobago walk away with 79 medals or something. So they postponed. That's the summer games in a place where the virus has already run
its course. Yeah.
To the larger extent that we know of, right? That's fascinating, number one. Number two, I think we're overlooking how long we could be without organized sport. And I think organizations like the NHL, MLB, NBA, NFL need to be on the forefront of that. I don't think them waiting for government recommendation because when that nobody host sporting event or Santa Clara County, right, recommended that nobody host an event with more than 10,000 people, which is a crazy amount of people to begin with, by the way. That's an absurd. What's the difference between 9,000 people and 10,000 people? I do not know. Right. I have no idea. And it
kind of depends on how much space you have too.
Right. I mean, we're talking a sports arena, right? So, I mean, we're talking.
Well, are we talking an NHL arena or are we talking a football stadium that holds 80,000 people?
No, we're talking enclosed Shark Tank SAP Center. They say we recommend you don't host a sporting event with more than 10,000 people. 9,999 show up. Everything's fine, I suppose. But the Sharks say that's great that you recommended it, but I need to make money, so we're going to host that event with however many people show up on any given night. And the next thing you know, the government has to come out and say you're barred, right? You are not allowed to do this. So
yeah,
I think it's unfortunate how much we're allowing sports leagues to get away with here, because there's a real case to be made for the fact that Rudy Gobert potentially saved lives. And we're going way back now to the start. I mean, what are we, 59 minutes in?
Maybe.
But there's a real argument to be made that him being a dumb idiot potentially saved a lot of people.
It's possible because it kind of brought everything to the forefront quickly.
Yeah.
And it kind of helped shut everything down quickly.
Well, not as quick if you're a hockey fan, but
quickly.
I mean, everything else with competent leadership shut down right away, which isn't that something?
Yeah. So we do want to get into NFL free agency. We're already going for an hour. We do have a YouTube question from CJ.
What has he got?
He wants to know, do we think the Browns offense received a major upgrade or a minor upgrade in picking up Austin Hooper at tight end?
Can I talk about the Cleveland Browns for a second? Because
have at it. You know what?
So,
here's what we're gonna do. You're gonna talk about the Browns, and I'm gonna fix that T-shirt in the back. Okay. How does that sound?
Here, that sounds great. So let's start with the Cleveland Browns, shall we? Since we're moving on to the NFL and we're not talking about Corona anymore. The Cleveland Browns are not good. To just be quick and easy, they are bad. Okay, they are very, very bad. That is the Cleveland Browns. Baker Mayfield is a mediocre NFL quarterback.
He's okay.
He's got a great beard.
Baker,
rock and roll, man. And you know what? He's got good sponsorships. He's got a good contract. He's making cash, and he's living as good a life as one possibly can in Cleveland, Ohio. So he's doing his thing. Good for him. He's a bad quarterback. He's got every offensive weapon one could possibly imagine needing. He's got a tight end with great hands in Njoku, who unfortunately missed most of last year. I understand. He's got two all-pro, Pro Bowl, whatever you call them, wide receivers in Jarvis and Odell. He's got two all-pro, Pro Bowl running backs in Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. His offensive line is not the best in the league, but it's also not the worst in the league. So any of this feedback that he didn't have a second to throw the ball, he was under pressure every time. I mean, geez, man, look at Sam Darnold, who dealt with the same thing, right? And who says Sam Darnold is the next coming of I don't know, Peyton Manning? Nobody, right? They say he's a perfectly fine NFL quarterback with the potential to maybe be a little bit better than he is now. He's not going to be a Pro Bowler. He's not going to carry a team to a Super Bowl, and neither is Baker Mayfield. And that's okay. You don't need that guy, right? You can win without that guy as long as your coaching staff and your front office and everybody else is aligned with what they want to do. Now, the Browns have been unaligned or misaligned for 45, 60 years-ish in that general vicinity. They still haven't come up with a logo, Rob. Their logo is a helmet. Is it an orange helmet for a team called the Cleveland Browns?
Well, no, hold on. I got to stop you there because
I
watched a YouTube video about this, and it made perfect sense. And as someone who works in video and creative arts, brown is dark orange.
Sure, but their logo is pretty bright orange.
It is.
Okay.
But brown is dark orange.
And to comment on CJ's post, his last post of, tough to say he's a bad QB when he broke the rookie passing record and played less than 2 games of the full season. That's phenomenal. I'm very happy that he broke the rookie passing record. That's great.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal.
But the regression was also just as phenomenal.
That's the thing, right? I mean, he's somewhere right in between breaking rookie passing record and being as terrible as he was last year.
With the pieces around him.
And that's not great. That's not a great place to be, right? I talk to you all the time about the law of averages, right? Everything will regress to the mean eventually over the course of somebody's career. If they're a superstar, if they're a Pro Bowler, All-Star, whatever, their mean is higher than somebody else's. Baker Mayfield's mean clearly is in between all-time rookie passing record, which is not that great to begin with, and then last year, which is real bad. Okay. So it's somewhere in there and it's not great. His team doesn't have a logo. He's got all pro wide receivers and running backs around him. He's not good. Sorry, is what it is.
All right. I got another comment about the New York Giants, which are my team. Lewis, who's been our most active chat member so far.
That's Lewis. You can count on Lewis at all times.
Yeah. Lewis expects a great year from Daniel Jones and hopefully a trade back from the Giants in the first round, fingers crossed.
Dave Gettleman, who has failed upwards his entire career into being the GM of multiple NFL teams for some reason, is not a good leader and is like he's stuck in 1999 in terms of his thinking, which is impressive because, so was
Hog Mollies.
But here we are. And he's going to have the opportunity to draft again for this team, even though he should have no business being in the draft room. He's going to have his, what is this, his third?
At least.
His third year at the helm of
so.
the Giants. It could be his fourth. I'm pretty sure it's his third. He's going to have another ability to add to his Saquon Barkley draft, which he apparently needed to draft him for no other reason than wasting the career of a superstar. Trading back is the only answer he has. And if he doesn't, Giants fans should revolt. At least 6 feet apart because we're social distancing. So their pitchfork should at least be 6 feet long.
If you can swing the pitchfork over your head,
yes, it's like what you did in elementary school when you had to stand with your hands out, and if you were touching, you were too close.
Yeah.
Right. So that's how Giants fans should protest. But they should if he does not trade back, that's how they should do it. Social distancing safely. They should protest.
Yeah, it's just so interesting the position they're in, how tied in it is to the quarterback situation in this year's draft. Because there's word now that Miami might want to trade up to get Joe Burrow, but like, why would the Bengals do that?
If the Bengals let that happen, I mean, they're already a mess to begin with. But if the Bengals let that happen, they should. I don't know what. I mean, let's not forget that the much maligned Tampa Bay Buccaneers are like playing 4D chess right now.
They have Tom Brady.
Yeah, that's wild. That's just wild. That's wild. And I don't know if they're I don't know if they have or if they will address their back situation. But Jones, and I forget the other man's name off the top of my head, but Jones is not a bad RB2, right? They need that option who could be more of the ball carrier at the majority of the time. I thought Melvin Gordon was going to be their go-to, and I thought they were going to be stacked and ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, and then I also thought that Todd Gurley would consider going there, but he signed with Atlanta instead.
Yeah, that's an interesting one too. Devonta Freeman has fallen off a cliff of favoritism in Atlanta. Like, he was the guy when they were trying to win Super Bowls, right? 28-3, right? That was Devonta Freeman's team. Yeah, it was Julio Jones, Matt Ryan, but they let Devonta Freeman carry the ball 30 times a game, and they dumped it off another 10. Right? Like, he was the guy who touched the ball the most. Ito Smith is now the guy who they love. Unfortunately, he missed a lot of time last year with head injuries, so hopefully he's okay. But that's a weird. I don't know what happens with Devonta Freeman, who's now third on that depth chart.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not 100% up to speed on what his contract situation is, but he could be a cut.
Yeah, maybe him and Gurley go back and forth, but Ito Smith is the guy who they give the ball to on the goal line. Now that could go away now that Gurley's there, but Gurley didn't get the ball on the goal line in LA.
Yeah.
Right, last year they gave that to Brown. So does Gurley then take a goal line role in Atlanta? No, I can't imagine.
I wouldn't think so, and especially the way his knee isn't the same. I don't know if you want him risking getting banged up on a play like that.
Yeah,
I don't think he's the answer.
And to follow up on our Bucks conversation with CJ here.
Yeah,
I mean, is there another NFC team who have the receiving threats of the Bucks, who have the quarterback caliber of the Bucks? Yes, Tom Brady's 150 years old. He is not the best quarterback in the NFL anymore. He maybe is middle tier, right? But he's still the guy who can win a game.
He's not going to lose you football games.
Right. So
on his own.
Right. So is there a team in the NFC? I mean, their defense was fine last year too. It was more than fine.
Yeah.
I think it was top third in the league. So I can't, in my best estimation, say that there is a different Bucks team, a different team in the NFC who can be considered a favorite over the Bucks at this point.
At this point, I don't know. I'm still not sold. I mean, we don't know what Tom Brady looks like on a non-Belichick run team. The whole criticism that he's a system QB, I think that's going to be put to the test.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think people are forgetting like how comfortable Byron Leftwich is and how comfortable Bruce Arians is. I mean, those are two guys who've been around forever. Right? So maybe they just defer to Brady and then they can pop in, when needed. But I have to imagine that the NFC runs through Tampa, which is a weird thing to say.
Yeah. There's still some good teams there.
I mean, Dallas, no. Philly, no.
No, NFC East is out.
Right.
No.
Green Bay, no. I'm not sold on Green Bay.
San Francisco is still a top.
San Francisco.
And New Orleans.
Right. But we've seen over and over again that New Orleans can't get it done. We know this. This is not a surprise anymore. New Orleans
it's getting old. It's getting old at this point, how they can't get it done.
It's one of those, poo or get off the pot situations for them, and their pot is full of poo. So there's nowhere else to go. Okay? They've got the same situation. So that's the thing. The Saints and the Bucks, I feel, are two very similar teams in that their defenses could probably use a bit of an upgrade. Their quarterbacks are old and past their prime. And the receivers are as good as anybody else could possibly be. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, Alvin Kamara last year was not great. Right? He didn't score a touchdown for like 14 weeks.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, yeah, their back game is way stronger with Murray and Kamara, but it's not all-star. It's run pretty. I mean, Lou brings up a good point in the Seahawks, but Pete Carroll is a real piece of work, and I don't like him. So
you're not picking him.
So I don't count the Seahawks.
And as Charlie pointed out, local guy, former Hastings player, Ali Marpet is now going to be blocking for Tom Brady down in Tampa.
How about that? That's fun.
Yeah, Hastings.
Did you maybe call any games?
Not far from here. With Al, I think that was before we were highly active. No, I don't think we did any Hastings games back when he was there.
So should we pull out our spreadsheet? Should we pull out our QB?
I've got it ready. I'm not going to screen share it, but it's so bright. It's open.
Yeah, and we are bad at
this spreadsheet.
You're better than I am, but we're bad at it.
Only slightly. We're really bad. So I think it was last time, that we spoke. We did a little like $15 like 6 QB situation here, where we assigned a dollar value and a destination to 6 different quarterbacks. 4 of them have their landing spot, and only one of us so far has correctly predicted one correct landing spot. Actually, that's not true. We both had Tannehill in Tennessee, so it's a push. Phillip Rivers, you had in Tampa.
Yeah.
And I had in Indy, which is true.
Yeah, I still find that to be a strange fit. I can't imagine saying, wow, I want to not live in San Diego. I prefer the San Diego Chargers.
Stop calling him San Diego.
I can't stop. I can't imagine that man saying, I want to leave LA, San Diego, whatever you want to call it. And this team of offensive capabilities, right? Eckler was there. Gordon was there. He's gone now, but Eckler's still there. You still got Williams on the side, and you still got Keenan Allen.
Yeah, so, the Chargers are literally a quarterback away from, they contended this year.
Right. I couldn't imagine saying, I want to leave that team and I want to go play for the Indianapolis Colts.
They're another team that looks like they're like a high-quality quarterback away from contending.
I don't buy that. The Indianapolis Colts are very far away. T.Y. Hilton hasn't played more than 2 games in a season since 2004. Marlon Mack is like meh in terms of NFL caliber running back, right? And he's also missed time the last 2 seasons. Their defense is poor, to be kind. Their coaching is extra poor, to be kind. And their receiving core is what?
Okay, they need work. But, Jacoby Brissett had them a win away from the playoffs.
Right, because their division is terrible. And I get that.
Well, that's part of it. You have to get into the dance before you can even start a conversation.
Especially considering the Texans don't want to be good. Like, the Texans are trying to be bad and letting Bill O'Brien, that big-headed egotistical moron
Oh,
run
that
their
trade was
franchise
so
into the
bad.
dirt. I don't understand how they're allowing that to happen. I don't understand how ownership is like, yeah, this guy deserves a paycheck every other week. I don't get it. And I also, but here's my problem is I don't see Hopkins as a fit in Arizona, which is sad to me because he's top 3 receivers in the league, I'd say. I'd probably go, who would I go? Thomas is 1. I don't know who I'd put it to. Maybe Hopkins, honestly. But Thomas is the best in the league. So Hopkins is top 3, I'll say, in case I'm forgetting something.
Oh, absolutely. He's a great receiver.
I don't see him fit. I don't know if Kyler and he fit together.
That's something we'll have to see on the football field.
Right.
I'm just looking from a straight, like, what did they give? What did they get?
I mean,
I don't get it.
They didn't give anything. They gave up and you don't have to tell me, okay, fantasy owner here of David Johnson. You don't have to tell me what he's capable of. I'm fully aware. But they gave a broken man, a man who was literally broken, who didn't play for 8 weeks.
Healthy scratch for a lot of
Healthy scratched. And not even a first-round pick for a top 2 receiver in the league, top 3 receiver in the league.
Yeah.
To play with their second-year Pro Bowl quarterback.
I don't know.
Deshaun, so I saw the Vegas odds for next year, 2021. Who is the starting quarterback for the New England Patriots? Deshaun Watson is plus 250. Wow. He leads the odds by like a significant amount.
Is his contract running out, or do they think O'Brien's going to strike again?
Class 5 free agent, whatever that means, something like that.
Restricted free agent.
Yeah, he's not UFA, but he's free. And he's going to have the. I can't imagine that guy wants to stay. I can't imagine.
Yeah, no, it's
him
not working
to hang
there.
out with Bill O'Brien much more. So I think that's. I mean, the Texans are going to go from having the largest window to win a Super Bowl of potentially any team, in the NFL, with the way their division is mixed together, right? Who is that division? AFC South, right? So that's Houston, Indianapolis, Tennessee, and one more.
Oh, there is one more. Jaguars. Everyone forgets the Jaguars.
Well, yeah. That's nobody's fault. So it's Houston, Indianapolis, Tennessee, and Jacksonville. And Houston is going to go in with Jadeveon Clowney, Deshaun Watson, DeAndre Hopkins, and more, and waste their primes, trade Clowney, trade Hopkins, not get one first-round pick back, and squander an opportunity to run that division and potentially the AFC.
Yeah. And I mean, look.
Turn it into nothing.
And the Titans are in that division too, and they put on quite a run last year. So, and Indianapolis nearly did too. Like, that division is getting tougher.
Yeah.
By the minute.
It's crazy. I mean, like we said, Indianapolis needs work. Tennessee now has a superstar in Tannehammer. Right. They're ready to go. Derrick Henry has turned into, I mean, any money for Henry yet.
Can you repeat that? You're breaking up a little bit.
Oh, sorry. Have we seen Henry get his cash yet?
I don't know if we did.
I don't think so. I
am the Googler. Roto World, Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry. Is he a free agent?
I mean, I think he got franchise tagged.
Yeah, so he didn't get his contract. He didn't get the contract yet. No.
Right. So I mean, that's the thing. I mean, Derrick Henry's a guy who deserves all the money he can get. Tennessee's going to be a weird team to watch this year. I think AJ Brown, right, is the next coming of Randy Moss out there. And if Tannehill can, I mean, even be a third of what he was last year, that team's got a real good chance of winning that division.
Yeah. Definitely. I think they had a strong ending to the year last year, and they got at least status quo or better at most of the major positions.
Should we talk about, and CJ just brought it up, should we talk about Gardner Minshew?
Oh, Minshew Mania. I feel like you can't talk about Gardner Minshew without talking about Nick Foles.
Yeah. You mean perpetual backup quarterback Nick Foles that everybody knew was a backup quarterback except the team that signed him to be a starter for a week?
Really well-paid backup quarterback.
So, and he's going to be a backup quarterback again in Chicago.
You think they're going to stick with Trubisky in Chicago?
He's better than Nick Foles.
Is he?
Yes, by a lot. Nick Foles is not a good quarterback. I don't know why this
Trubisky a good quarterback?
I don't know why this is controversial. Nick Foles was worse than Carson Wentz by a lot, and Nick Foles was worse than Gardner Minshew by a lot. And Mitch Trubisky is better than Gardner Minshew, right? Are we gonna have that conversation? That conversation you really want to have? Come on.
I might want to have that conversation. Mitchell Trubisky just fell off so hard last year.
He had a rough beginning of the year. Nobody denies this.
By beginning, you mean weeks 1 through 12?
Weeks 1 through 7.
Didn't feel like that.
I would venture a guess. I don't know this off the top of my head, but I'd venture a guess that Mitch had a better QBR in weeks 8 through 16 than Gardner.
Let's take a look. QBR.
I'll double down on all my QB bets that are in front of you.
Let's see if we can look this up real quick. Side by side on Fantasy Pros. Can I do this game log? That's what I want. Well, that just tells me the games they played. I want their stats.
Come on, big fella. Give me those stats.
Trying to find them. I am working hard here.
All right. So am I. You know, everybody's working hard during these times, Rob. These are trying times.
Now, just overall, Minshew's the better quarterback if you look at the season stats.
Well, I don't know what you're using to decide that.
Well, I have a few different metrics here, and they played almost the same number of games. Minshew played 14. Trubisky played 15.
Okay.
40 snaps apart.
Okay. That's a game. Yeah. That's
Fantasy points per game.
Okay. Come on.
All right, we can ignore that category.
Come on, what are we doing?
Yards per attempt. Is that a good one?
I suppose.
Minshew 7, Trubisky 6.1.
Okay. Not really a difference.
All right, TDs and interceptions. Trubisky 17 TDs to 10 picks. Minshew 21 TDs to 6 picks.
Okay.
And that's in one less game.
That is objectively better.
That's objectively better. Minshew in one less game threw for about 140 more yards.
Okay.
Completion
for QBR.
QBR. I don't have it on this particular.
That's okay.
It's on Fantasy Pros.
Listen, that's fine. We want to say that based on 1 year of Gardner Minshew, 15 games of Gardner Minshew is better than the total Mitch Trubisky. I understand that you want to say that. Granted, we just watched Mitch Trubisky fall off a map, right? So the idea that Gardner Minshew is maybe a little out there.
Yeah, I don't know. He could easily fall off as well next year. Who knows?
So I would, if I was starting my team tomorrow and I had the last quarterback pick in the world,
clearly
I would take Trubisky over Minshew. Now, Nick Foles is consistently not good. Like, consistently good enough to be a backup. That's his job. His job is backup quarterback. And now he's a backup quarterback in Chicago. I don't know why, but this is the thing that baffles me is why did Chicago say Mitch Trubisky needs to be replaced and they traded for a backup quarterback?
Yeah, I don't understand from Chicago's standpoint why they would choose Foles and that contract.
Now,
I think just based on the contract alone, you've got to give Foles a shot.
Right. And can you imagine from a Carolina Panther perspective that they decided Teddy Bridgewater is better off than Cam Newton?
Yeah, back to that original discussion we were having about our picks.
Boy, oh boy.
We both had him going to Vegas.
I was excited for that. Now Carr is going to run the town there for a little bit. But where does Cam end up? I think that's like a
and the thought being that's going to be a trade. I don't know. I mean, does Chicago turn around and use Foles in that trade to offset some money?
I think it's possible.
That's my first thought is, because all along I've thought that Cam might be a fit in Chicago.
Yeah, I think a lot of people did, and that was my take last year. That it made sense that he'd be the guy who goes that direction. They obviously like a mobile quarterback, somebody who can get out of the pocket if need be, dump it off, right? Tariq Cohen, Montgomery back there, whatever. But they're making some. The Bears are a weird one to me. I don't quite understand where they're headed. Their team again, NFC North, right? That division is also not anything to laugh at. I think they're a fine team. They're a playoff team, but they're not like runaways.
No, not by any means at
all.
Right.
The Vikings at the same time are what? They're the Bears with a more competent offensive line, maybe?
Yeah, pretty much.
Maybe that's it. And Dalvin
maybe
Cook.
They have a kicker now, maybe?
Right, and they have Dalvin Cook. If I had to pick one player for both those teams, I'd pick Dalvin.
Yeah.
But
all right, so what's left on our little friendly bet here? Brady, we were both wrong on.
Yeah, where did I have him? I had him in L.A.
You had him in LA with the Chargers. I had him going back to the Patriots.
Yeah.
So all we have left.
I learned a lot.
Listen,
if you can learn one thing from this Brady saga, take it from an Islanders fan. If they don't sign early, they're not going to sign.
Yeah.
They're going to leave.
Once they hit it doesn't happen very often where they hit the open market and they come. Derek Jeter did it, but that was towards the end of his career.
Right. Once the market is there, and they are out. And the market for Ryan Tannehill, as Lewis brings up, a 9-figure deal for Ryan Tannehill. I don't care. I like when owners pay their players, so I think it's a fine investment because
it's an NFL contract. So if he stinks in 3 years, they'll pay him almost nothing.
Right, and it doesn't matter. The Tannehill deal it sets the market for a lot of guys moving forward, which is great for them, which is why I like it because those guys deserve to get paid. The owners deserve to all, pay for my health care, which they don't do. So it is what it is.
All right. So the other two pieces we're waiting for to drop. One, we're going to have to wait for the draft is where Tua goes.
Yeah. I still feel pretty confident in my, what was it? My Florida pick, right?
You have him going to the Chargers.
Oh, I had, okay. Cause I had Brady going there.
Yeah. I have him in Miami, which sounds like the front runner, I guess.
That sounds like the one.
And then Jameis, I think we're both going to be wrong on because I have him in Tampa, you have him with the Colts.
Oh, you think maybe we were wrong? No, I think
we're going to be wrong on that one.
I think maybe now we should have the ability to change our Jameis pick since he's not going to Tampa and he's not going to the Colts.
I don't know where the heck he's going.
Well, so why don't we change that one? Why don't you put in a new wager?
I'd prefer not to, sir.
So you'd like to stay with Tampa?
No, he's not going to Tampa. That's the thing.
Why would you stay?
Because we made the bet. It's been arranged. It's been recorded. That's over.
Giving you the opportunity here.
It's true because he's not. I don't think he's going to the Colts either. There's no reason for that to happen.
No. So we can both say that we were wrong.
We were definitely,
but
I don't know who wants to sign him.
And then I'll reopen the wager. Totally blank slate.
All right. So the question now is where is there an opening for Jameis?
Yeah.
New England.
Hopefully, at the eye doctor, if you know what I mean. He's got to get his glasses.
Off the top of my head, New England, the Chargers. Where else?
I think the Chargers make the most sense.
I think I would pick here's the thing. We're both going to pick the Chargers. So it doesn't matter anyway then.
What about what about Vegas?
I guess that's an option. I don't know. It
Vegas
seems like they're sticking with Derek Carr so far. I don't know.
Yeah, but maybe they sign Jameis so they can trade Carr.
Maybe. I don't know. I feel like I don't know if he's going to get a starter contract. I think a team's going to sign him to be a backup. Someone's going to get hurt, and they're going to suddenly be really happy they have him.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I have a weird feeling that he might re-sign in Tampa if the market doesn't grow for him, just so he can hang out with Tom.
Kind of cool.
That would be kind of cool. But I think if it's not there and he wants to start, then it's got to be the Chargers, right? I mean,
yeah, they've got an obvious need.
Unless they're able to trade up for Tua, like
Tua.
I mentioned, which I don't think they would. I mean, if Miami, where's Miami? Miami's at 3?
4.
4. Miami's at 4. The Bengals are picking Burrow at 1. LA is where? I mean, LA is not even top 5, are they?
They would have to trade up.
They'd have to trade up hard. Oh, we got breaking news on the old YouTube. Kyle Allen is out in Carolina.
To Washington?
To Washington. To the Washington Football Club. CJ, we don't use that vernacular on our YouTube stream. But we are, I mean, Kyle Allen, who was real hard to watch down here, the couple blocks away from the stadium. That was hard to watch, Kyle Allen pretending to be an NFL quarterback. And, I mean, the Washington football team going all in on Dwayne Haskins and Kyle Allen is interesting.
Very, yeah, interesting is a way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, oi. I don't know.
Get them a quarterback. Jesus.
I don't know. Maybe Jameis goes there. I don't know. Maybe Jameis comes to Carolina.
I mean, the question is Teddy Bridgewater
a starter?
A solution?
Well, that's definitely, the answer is definitely no to that. I mean, Teddy Bridgewater is not the solution to anything except your potential backup quarterback needs.
Look, he did well in New Orleans when Drew Brees was hurt in a system that was designed for Drew Brees. So, look, I think he's a little underrated at this point. I don't know if as a franchise I would fully commit to him as the guy.
Yeah, I mean, Carolina
could be the guy. He could
Carolina
be.
is a strange situation, man.
So are the Redskins now.
I mean, if I'm Carolina, I call Cincinnati and I say, "You want McCaffrey for the first."
I feel like this happened to me in fantasy last year.
You know, McCaffrey for the first. If the answer is
McCaffrey.
No, if the answer is no, I say okay, and then I over the course of the season I figure out if there's a way to trade McCaffrey for a franchise quarterback who maybe isn't playing or is, or I can trade him for the first overall next year. I don't know, right? Maybe I get lucky and that team doesn't need a quarterback. You're never going to win with McCaffrey. That is what it is now.
Yeah.
Right? Window's closed, and he's almost bad, right? I mean, we know how careers go in the NFL. Great.
Yeah, he doesn't have a lot of time.
Player. He doesn't take the same kind of hits that running backs normally take, but he takes a lot more of them because he gets the ball 40 times a game. So This guy's almost on the back end of his career if he's not already. It's never going to get better than it was last year. Right? Last year was MVP caliber, as good as it gets. It's only going to get worse from there. So I call up any team that'll listen and I say, McCaffrey for the pick that'll give me a quarterback that I can build around. That easy. I don't know. I mean, they seem to have this infatuation with the Baylor guy. I forget his name. And he's familiar with Bridgewater. He's familiar with other guys who they've gone out to go get, and I just don't see it working as well as they want it to. Maybe it does. I mean, I'm an idiot, so maybe they're smarter than me. I mean, I would certainly hope so, as they're running a football team. But I can't imagine it's going to go as well as they plan.
Yeah. I don't know. There's too much. There's too much unknown.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to watch, especially because there's nothing else to watch.
Well, we'll see. I mean, hopefully there is something to watch. At this point, I think, like we talked about, and now we're going full circle. I think we are in a situation where we may not have anything to watch NFL wise. I would not be shocked if the NFL said we're not going.
At least not on time. But there's so much. Look, we don't know. The governments don't know. The sports leagues don't know. We're kind of everyone's in a holding pattern.
Yep.
And in between their holding patterns, they're running out and buying as much toilet paper as they can.
Which, and I hate to be, the guy who got lucky, but I found toilet paper the other day at the CVS.
Nice.
Phenomenal.
I got some at the local Stop and Shop.
That's good, man.
They happen to have restocked. There was a limit, but I bought as much as they would let me.
The old New Rock City Stop and Shop?
No, not all the way down there. That might be in the containment zone. I'm not
all the way, like the containment zone. That's wild.
Isn't it wild? Containment zone. Yeah, it's bizarre. It's what it is. It's working.
I believe it.
In the county, the spread is really slowed in Westchester County. So.
We'd be remiss, Rob, if we didn't give a shout out to the local, the old New Rock and Westchester Police Department, the healthcare professionals, yada, yada, yada.
Everybody, grocery store workers, like that's the one place where there's crowds constantly. Like that's where
pharmacies, grocery stores, police departments, hospitals, all the whole nine. So obviously a big shout out to them. And if you can, folks, support your local business. They're in hard times, man. I know for a fact that the local Beachmont Tavern is having a tough time right now. Just trying to get
the restaurants are all. There's no in-person service. If you can order stuff, you can pick it up, you can have it delivered.
Yeah. If you can help out in any way, I'm sure your local place has their Venmo account or a GoFundMe or something like that out there.
Or you could just buy their stuff.
Or that. Do whatever you can. I mean, if you can buy and donate, do that. If you can just donate, do that. If you can just buy, do that. If you can't, then promote it. You can do what you can. Everybody's got a bully pulpit these days on the old Twitter and the Facebook and everything like that. So get out there, do what you can, and shout outs to all those folks for working so hard in these weird times. That's for sure. And Rob, I don't know if we've got a whole lot else to cover, but I wanted to say thanks to everybody who tuned in, and I think Rob, I think this is something we should continue to pop in on here and there. I think
I think we're gonna need some things to develop so we have something to talk about.
No.
But certainly this is something we can set up again. We're really happy at everyone that tuned in, either now live participating in the chat, on TV, or even if you're watching a replay. I'm sure this will replay several times on LMC-TV.
Yeah, and feel free to shoot out emails and tweets and stuff like that. We're happy to interact wherever. I mean, we're
absolutely. And this is a running joke on the Nosebleeds where we can see everything, is that I always forget what our socials are. I wrote them down, and I'm going to recite them now. You can email us. Email at podcastnosebleeds@gmail.com.
That's the stuff.
And you can reach us on Twitter at nosebleeds_pod.
Good man.
Feel free to ask us questions, give us some feedback, some things we can talk about next time maybe. And
I mean, honestly, if anybody like we said, we'll pop in with if there are any developments. Of course, we got some breaking news while we were on the show, so that kind of
always fun.
Kind of precludes any sequels here. So no Olympic sequel, no Kyle Allen to the Washington team sequel. No whatever the heck else happened while we were here. But stuff is going to happen, right? Still free agency time. Plenty of leagues still have decisions to make, and things can go down. But if you also shoot us a note on anything that you find fascinating. I'm sure we can put together maybe some sort of
discussion, or maybe we can even grab another guest to come on. Maybe Seth has some free time nowadays. So I'm sure we can find something to do. So feel free if you have any suggestions, let us know.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning into the Nosebleeds. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.